Hey everybody, welcome to the channel YZ Redbeard. My name is Mark. If you've clicked on this channel, on this specific video, you're probably wanting to know how to do a Hinson clutch package on your bike. I specifically have a 2024 YZ250X, and I figured I would just go ahead and go through the process of installing that. Definitely, if it helps you out or you just like the video, definitely hit that like button and subscribe button. Help me out, grow the channel. Don't really post too much. I haven't here lately, but I'm going to try to get more videos up. But there are going to be some more videos. I am doing a top end on this. I'm going to have a new Apex head put on it. Some other little things I'm getting done to it. So I'm just going to kind of separate all those videos by themselves and go into it. So just stay with me and we'll get at it. All right, so here it is. The complete billet-proof conventional clutch kit from Hinson. I'm going to be getting this installed on the YZ250X, and I am super excited. I have never had a Hinson clutch before, so I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm ready to get this thing in and go rip it up. But it comes with everything you need. It's got some basic directions just to help you get through it. It's pretty easy if you're somewhat mechanically inclined, but if you're here, you're just kind of wanting to see somebody else do it so you kind of know what you're getting into. We normally don't have to pull the clutch cover off to get that side case off, but seeing as I got the cover, I'm going to go ahead and pull that off in the video because I'll be putting that one on. So, all right, here we go. All right, first you're going to want to drain all your coolant and all your transmission oil. I've already done several steps because I'm in the process of doing a whole bunch of other work. And then I realized I should probably be making a video about this. Help you guys out. I've already removed the kickstarter and the brake pedal. Those are both held in by 6mm Allen bolts, so you'll need a 6mm Allen key for those. And then next step, let's get these hoses off. And if you haven't already, I don't know if anybody on here is kind of new to dirt bikes, specifically Japanese models. Get you some good JIS screwdrivers. All the screws that are on here are not your typical screws. You need a JIS screwdriver kit. They are a little bit different than USA screwdrivers. So that's where you get a lot of the issues of people stripping screws out, is because they do not have the correct screwdrivers to be doing that. So break that seal on there. I should be able to get it off now. Alright, next let's get that power valve cover off. Side cover. And something else I do, I'm sure a lot of people do this. I always make a diagram where all the bolts are. This is something I learned when I went to MMI. It just makes putting everything together that much easier. You're not guessing where all your bolts go and all that. So, and you can just keep everything in one place and you know where it's at. Now this bike's only got almost 70 hours on it, so I'm expecting everything to look pretty clean. The only reason I've decided to tear this down and do all the work on it right now is it's the winter time. It's about 10 degrees out right now, and that's one reason why it's in my dining room. And I figured I would just go ahead and get everything kind of replaced before race season jumps back up in February, March. So that way I'm starting out the season on a fresh build and don't have to worry about it all next year. So all right, you're gonna want to find something to stick up in there to hold that. Nice little impact driver makes everything a lot easier. All right, get that clutch cover off. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving and good Christmas coming up. And hopefully you guys are getting some mods done on your bike that you've been wanting to get done. Just kind of inspect everything as you're getting it off, you know. See if you've had any problems. I mean, as new as this bike is, I don't expect to have any issues. So, all your outer case bolts are going to be 8mm. Once you get into these are going to be. All right, let me make a note here while I'm taking these off of the 10mm. You only have to remove the clutch cover to do this, but I'm going to be taking that outer case, right side case cover off so that I can get in to do the clutch detent spring mod. If you don't know that, keep an eye out for a video that I'm going to be posting about that to help with shifting. Now, you don't have to remove these two water pump bolts or this oil check fill bolt. You can just leave those ones in, and those won't bother you when you're going to take it off. All right, while I was finishing taking those right side cover bolts out, I noticed I forgot to take off the power valve linkage arm there up on the cylinder. So make sure after you remove that bolt, that you pull that linkage off so that when you're trying to remove that cover, you don't bend that arm at all. There we go. And there is a washer behind that linkage arm. Make sure you get that off so you don't lose it. Little spacer washer. All right, let's pop that off there now. Heck, that gasket looks good enough. I could probably reuse it. I have a new one on order, so I'll probably just replace it, but all right, let's pull that clutch pack out. Yeah, these clutches look pretty good. Don't even hardly look used. So I'll definitely keep these. You know, I will probably run Hinsons from now on, but it never hurts to have an extra set laying around. So. Go ahead and remove that. I always kind of like to put everything in the orientation to come off. It's just going to really help you put it back together. All right, I was having camera issues. Apparently my camera stopped recording on this next step. You're going to need to get a flathead screwdriver and pop the locking tab up on the behind that nut that's holding that basket on. So just be easy, just pry up on it, give it a few taps, let it straighten right up. All right, let's get this clutch basket out. Definitely recommend getting the clutch basket holder tool. Just makes your life a whole lot easier. Like $20 on Rocky Mountain ATV. Then the center nut's going to be a 29mm, and let's get it out of there. Easy as that. get that safety clip out. So always keep the direction of your stuff the way it goes so you remember. Alright, there it is. Now we'll have to be grinding these off to get this gear off the back, the primary gear. Luckily on this model, this inner gear comes already on the new clutch basket, so that's a time saver there, is you got to have a press or you got to really fight those to get those in. So alright, bear with me, we'll get to that. Alright, we got to get that primary gear off there. Just typical grinder. Got that blade for like $3 at Harbor Freight, so just be careful. You do not want to get into your gear at all. We won't be using this gear, but you know, just try not to get into none of that stuff. So we're just gonna come from the top and just grind down from the top. I went ahead and sped this part of the video up for you and muted the volume on it so it didn't deafen you with that grinder. But definitely when you're doing this, just take your time. Don't get in no hurry. Just be safe. Don't cut your fingers or nothing with that grinder. And definitely do not get into your primary gear with it. Just like I said, go slow, take your time, and it's pretty straightforward. Alright, now we got those ground down. Just get you a big flat screwdriver and this thing should just pop right off. Work your way around it. Try to be easy on the primary gear as much as you can. There you go. Now we'll go inside and we'll take all these rubber dampers out and get that Hinson basket installed. Alright, now we're ready to start assembling this stuff, but first you need to clean everything. Go ahead and take your screws out of here, remove this plate. Just take note, the numbers stamped on the plate go up, and it's pretty easy to remember because you got beveled plates here for your screws. Definitely get this sticker cleaned up, get all that stuff off there. You don't want that stuff getting in your transmission oil and clogging any passageways up. So definitely, we're going to clean everything real good. So go get you a Tupperware, one of your wife's Tupperware out of the cabinet so you can use that and not let her know about it. And first we got to get these rubber dampers off this old basket. So just pop this up. Just very gently working my way around it. Not touching any of the rubber, prying up on the rubber. Now when you go to install these, there's only one way you can install them, but just kind of take note of how they go. So we're going to pop those all out and give everything a good clean. Another thing to note too is these have writing on them. All that writing was facing up just to help you kind of remember. Alright, speed this part up while I'm cleaning all this stuff. Just make sure you clean everything real good before you reassemble. You don't want any metal shavings or no dirt, debris in that when you start putting it together. And then also note, I'm using contact cleaner to clean all this stuff. That is not good for rubber components, but I briefly just sprayed those rubber dampeners and then immediately wiped them off and blew them off. Just don't let them sit in a pool of contact cleaner if that's what you're using. Now Hinson tells you multiple times in the package to use this 272 Loctite. Do not use anything else. You'll have to order it online. I got mine off of Amazon. I went to every parts store around me, could not find the stuff. So after about 5 different places, I finally just ordered it offline. So that's what you're going to need to install this. Now let's get started. First, get your rubber dampeners on. Pretty straightforward. Get this gear on here. Definitely take note on at least this is for a YZ250. This primary gear has two sides. One's kind of beveled up, and then the other side's got this lip on there right there. It's recessed in. It says on their notes here to make sure the recessed side of the gear is facing up, but in the picture, they've got two different kinds of primary gears in their pictures. So it's a little confusing if you've never done it before. But on the YZ250, just make sure that the recessed side where you have the lip on the inside here, make sure it's facing up. So let's get that on there. Work your way around it. Definitely go around it and make sure that you have it completely seated to that basket. You do not want to get your bolts in there and tighten everything down and it's not even sitting all the way down. That'd be a bad day. So 272 Loctite, and let's get these bolts started. Get our plate on. Again, there's only the one way to put this on here. I mean, if you turn it upside down, your screws are not going to sit recessed down in those holes. So get that lined up. Now when you go to put your screws in, definitely do not be skimpy on the Loctite. Just go ahead and layer them up. You do not want this stuff coming loose. Now when I put this on here, I'm going to not only go down the threads, I'm going to also put just a dab on the head of the screws itself, and then put a little dab in the screw hole. In this situation, you really can't have too much Loctite. I mean, the more the better on this. Alright, and these screws are a T25. I do not have a bit for my ratchets for these, so this will work just fine. Like anything else, go in a crisscross pattern. And then in their notes that they send, they say to torque them down to, I believe 3.2 is what they said, foot-pounds. 3.3 foot-pounds. So it's really not a lot of tightening on them. Because, I mean, the Loctite's there, and then you're also going to be pinging them with a punch. So just get them somewhat snug, and once we ping them, that'll be good. You definitely don't want to strip them out. Alright, and then I always like to go around one more time just to make sure I got them all. Okay. Now for the next step, we will be pinging these with a punch and a hammer. For that, we're going to go back outside. My kitchen table is not really sturdy enough to be doing that. Alright, now we're going to ping these screws. In the Hinson directions, they say to only ping them on the inside. But we don't want this thing coming off. So we're going to do 2 pings on each side of the screw here. Or, well, 1 on each side of the screw. On each one, and then we'll go on the inside and do 1 on there. So I just have a regular punch with a tip on it, and don't use a dead blow hammer, use a good hammer. And you ain't got to go super hard with it, just put it right there on the edge of that screw and the plate. And as you can see there, just put a ping on each side, and that will just ensure that that thing will not back out. Now we're just going to do 1 on the inside. Way this teeters, just hold it to one side and work your way around like that. You can see we got those pinged on the inside there all the way around. Now we'll just hit it with a little more cleaner and wipe that out. Alright, let's finish getting that clutch put in. I never took my bearing off, but you have a bearing back here and a washer. If those happen to come off on you, make sure you get those back on. Slide our basket on. You have a washer that goes between your basket and your clutch plate, or inner boss, whatever you want to call it. Make sure it's all the way in. My phone died from that last clip to this clip. The only thing I put on was the retaining locking washer behind that nut, and then the nut. Alright, my phone died. Sorry about that. Luckily I caught it before I got any further. I got that locking nut, or that nut on there. Let's go ahead and tighten that down. I just go until my impact can't go no more, and then I just get my torque wrench on there. It's supposed to be 55 foot-pounds. Alright, so I'm going to torque this down. I'm not a real big fan of this tool. I mean, it's a lifesaver, but I don't like that. Sometimes it mars your clutch basket up. So what I'm going to do is wrap some rubber gloves around it. Just like so. And then I'll get it in there. Tighten that down. All right. All right. There we go. Got it a little bit. try not to get anything with teeth inside of these. It always makes me nervous. Okay guys, I had to throw this little clip in here before we get to installing the clutch plates. I noticed a difference in the outside friction plates and the inner friction plates. Take note to what I point out in this little clip here about the difference, and then just make sure that you're looking at yours before you go to put them in. I haven't really heard a lot of guys talk about this in video, so I really just wanted to point that out. That could be a problem that people have when they install new clutch plates and something's not quite right and they can't figure out what it is. So I just wanted to throw this in there and point it out. One thing I wanted to note with these friction plates from Hinson, this is exactly how they sent them stacked together. If you look, and even on your OEM friction plates, they're very similar, but there's a small difference. And I've never heard anybody actually mention this in a clutch video on, installing new clutch plates. So these outer clutch plates, friction plates from Hinson, and it's the same for OEM. I'll show you in just a second. The friction pads are right on the same side of each other on each plate, and that's on the front and the back. They're like that. Now every one in between, they are offset. So let me get see if I can get in here and show you a little bit better. See, they are right on each side of each other on the inner and outer plate. Now, if you go to the other 6 that are on the inside, they are offset. I know it's hard to see on the camera, but they're actually offset. So when you go to put these in, just make sure that, it's best to put them in how Hinson sent them to you. So those 2 that got those friction pads right on the same side of each other on each side of that friction plate, just make sure those are on the inside and the outside. And I'll even show you on the OEM clutches. They're not as square as the Hinson ones, but on the OEM ones, they're pretty darn close to on the same side of each other on that inner and outer one. But then if you get into the inside friction plates, they are just like the Hinsons. They are offset. So just take note of that when you're going to put your clutch in. Definitely make sure that you got those right friction plates on the inside and outside. I've never heard anybody mention that in a how-to video. Again, grab the Tupperware from your wife's cabinet, and I'm just going to go ahead and get these soaked. And now time for the messy part. Get some gloves on. We got the friction plates that have been soaking in oil for about 2 hours. Got the steel plates here. And I'm sure if you've watched other videos, there is a sharp side and a rounded side. You want the rounded side facing the motor, so just make sure you get those all in the same direction. Double check these and make sure they're all actually in the same direction out of the pack. All right. They seem to be. Yep. Okay, as I finish torquing down these last few bolts, your Hinson clutch install is complete. All you need to do now is definitely make sure that the clutch plates and that pressure plate is opening freely and nothing's binding up. Just grab your clutch lever, give it a few squeezes, and make sure it feels good. With that being said, you can get your clutch cover put back on and fill it full of oil, and you're ready to go ride. Like I said before, you didn't need to take the whole right side cover off. I just had mine off because I was doing the shift detent mod, which is behind that clutch basket, so you would need that whole cover off to get back there. If that's something you're interested in knowing, there are a few videos on YouTube. Definitely recommend checking out Up All Night channel. He's very knowledgeable. I'll also be posting a video on that, so just stay tuned. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Give me a like and subscribe. Don't forget your push rod bolt nut here. Got the Hinson clutch springs. All right, so I've got those started by hand. I don't just like to ram them in there. I'm notorious for being able to strip stuff out or cross thread stuff, so I always take my time with that stuff. And you see other guys just ram these in, but I've got this on the first setting. I just run them in, crisscross them.